Good evening and welcome to the April 2025 Public Hearing and Speak to Council session. The meeting will now come to order and ask the City Clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Gruber. Councilmember Lightfoot. He's excused. Councilmember Lupien.
Here.
Councilmember Martin. Councilmember Monroe. Councilmember Patterson. Councilmember Smith is excused. Vice President Harris.
Here.
President Melendez.
Here,
Thank you.
and let the record reflect that Councilmember Martin will be a few minutes behind, and Councilmember Gruber as well, who's wrapping a meeting. But in the interest of time, I wanted to make sure that we got started. New York State law requires that City Council hold public hearings as it considers specific legislative actions. The clerk will open each public hearing, and anyone wishing to comment on the relevant matter may come to the podium at that time. After public hearings conclude, Speak to Council will begin. Speak to Council is a time for members of the public to comment on any and all matters relating to the city. Sign-ups for this session closed at 4:30 p.m. this afternoon. The list of speakers can be found at the back of the room and in the hallway. Speakers discussing legislation on this month's City Council agenda are placed on the A list. Speakers commenting on all other matters are placed on the B list. Under council rules, we do hear city residents first. As a reminder, the council is here to listen to all matters, and it is customary that we do not respond. Now let's begin this month's public hearing. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes at the podium, and the clerk will lead us through each hearing. Clerk Washington.
Pursuant to law, a public hearing will now be had on the following matter. Local improvement ordinance establishing the cost of special services for the East Avenue, Alexander Street Entertainment District for 2025-26, introductory number 95. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
This would be in reference to the maintenance and cleanup of the area. Yep. City funded. Seeing no speakers, that hearing is now adjourned.
Pursuant to law, a public hearing will now be had on the following matter. Local improvement ordinance authorizing special work and services related to the South Avenue, Alexander Street Open Space District for 2025-2026. Introductory number 96. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
Seeing no speakers, that hearing is now adjourned.
Pursuant to law, a public hearing will now be had on the following matter. Affirming and approving the lease by the Rochester Urban Renewal Agency of a parking lot comprised of 40 Broadway and portions of 50 and 70 Broadway. Introductory number 97. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
Seeing no speakers, that hearing is now adjourned.
Pursuant to law, a public hearing will now be had on the following matter. Resolution approving a lease by the Rochester Urban Renewal Agency to a parking lot comprised of 40 Broadway and portions of 50 and 70 Broadway, and designating Rochester Historic Properties LLC as qualified and eligible to lease said property. Introductory number URA 2. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is the process. That's correct, sir. Thank you. Seeing no speakers, that hearing is now adjourned.
Sorry, that happened a little quick. Is this LLC something that one of you owns? Would you like to establish your conflict of interest on this matter?
Same point of order, that we don't answer questions pertaining to
So your
this
answers
item.
are not answering this question? Thank you.
That is correct.
Pursuant to law, a public hearing will now be had on the following matter. Local improvement ordinance establishing a levy for special work and services on the areaway treatment at 23 through 27 East Main Street for 2025-2026. Introductory number 110. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
Seeing no speakers, that hearing is now adjourned.
Pursuant to law, a public hearing will now be had on the following matter. Local improvement ordinance establishing a levy for special work and services on the Arnold Park enhanced sidewalks for 2025-26. Introductory number 111. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
Just a quick comment. If any of this money is coming from Monroe County taxes, as a Monroe County taxpayer, I would wholeheartedly deny your access to any Monroe County taxes that may be used on this matter and further matters. Thank you.
Seeing no additional speakers, that hearing is now adjourned.
Pursuant to law, a public hearing will now be had on the following matter. Local improvement ordinance establishing the assessments for operation, installation, and maintenance costs of street lighting special assessment districts for 2025-26. Introductory number 112. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
Seeing no speakers, that hearing is now adjourned.
Pursuant to law, a public hearing will now be had on the following matter. Local improvement ordinance for the care and embellishment of street malls for 2025-26. Introductory number 113. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
Seeing no speakers, that hearing.
Just a quick comment. Is this is a public hearing, right? So there's so many questions that arise. Who owns the strip malls? Is it the city or is it privately developed? Are you giving the money to the private developers? Are you giving it to the lot owners? There's so many questions that arise that are kind of vague in what it is that you're stating. There's a lot more questions being posed than the simple statements that you're making. So we just need more information in order to make any sort of even have any insight on this matter whatsoever. Thank you.
Seeing no additional speakers, that hearing is now adjourned.
Council President, can I just make a clarification as well? These hearings are on legislation that has been publicly released to the community. So if you do have questions, they are on our website at cityofrochester.gov/council proceedings.
Thank you. Clerk?
Pursuant to law, a public hearing will now be had on the following matter. Local improvement ordinance establishing the operating and maintenance costs of special assessments for streetscape enhancements for 2025-26. Introductory number 114. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
Thank you, City Council. In terms of this matter, this is very low priority for the city. Any streetscape sort of stuff should be diverted straight into the public safety, particularly in the inner city election districts that are very underrepresented in terms of county election districts. Thank you.
Seeing no additional speakers, that hearing is now adjourned.
Pursuant to law, a public hearing will now be had on the following matter. Local improvement ordinance providing snow removal and security services at the public market for 2025-26. Introductory number 118. Any persons desiring to speak in reference to said matter will now be heard.
Just a quick comment on that, please. You said snow removal and security, so I assume the contract is going to the security to remove the snow. Those two things need to be separated. I'll look further into that. Thank you.
Seeing no additional speakers, that hearing is now adjourned. So we'll now move to our Speak to Council session. All speakers will be given 2 minutes at the podium. We respectfully ask that each speaker offer council the same respect they would expect to receive in return. In doing so, please refrain from profanity and other harmful language. Council members have contact information for all of tonight's speakers and may follow up with you after the meeting. City Clerk Hazel Washington will call each speaker to the podium. We ask that you respect the time of those waiting behind you and yield the podium at the end of your allotted 2 minutes. Clerk Washington.
Catherine Kennedy is from the Northwest District, followed by Marcus C. Williams.
I came up here with a lot of things to say and obviously not a lot of time to say them. Since 1986, Rochester has affirmed and reaffirmed itself as a sanctuary city. Just this past January, Mayor Malik Evans and several of you council members went on record to reaffirm Rochester's commitment to that, including that city officials and civil servants, including the RPD, are not alerted to and do not coordinate with federal immigration activities here in Rochester. Less than 2 months after that reaffirmation of our commitment to our neighbors and community, Rochester police officers unlawfully assisted in a traffic stop with immigration authorities from the federal government. This was not only a disappointment, but also a violation of our Sanctuary City Resolution, RPD guidelines, and whatever trust the RPD still has from the community. Shortly after that, I witnessed Spanish-speaking residents copying their identification documents at a local library because they fear reprisals and judgment from the RPD based on the language they speak, their skin color, and their national origin. Naturalized citizens with whom I work are telling me that their young children are concerned about their parents' immigration status, worried that their parents will be taken from them suddenly and without due process. RPD is not how we keep our cities safe, as evidenced by the fact that over 70% of our residents do not trust the police as a resource, and RPD's own 2023 numbers available online show that they only solve about 15% of crimes. I don't want to live in a city or a country where my neighbors, colleagues, friends, and community at large fear for their safety because agencies tasked with serving and protecting are doing the opposite. I do not support allocating city funds for drones as first responders, nor do I support increases to the RPD budget for any reason. Police and surveillance are not how we keep our cities safe. Housing, adequate food, clean water, and community engagement are how we keep our cities safe. Thank you for the time tonight.
Marcus C. Williams is from the South District, is followed by Zanetta Green.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Hey, everybody. Marcus C. Williams here. I've come here tonight to speak on the crime, as per usual, and I wish that I could just stop speaking about this if it were actually being addressed. I was at a neighborhood meeting the other night, and one of the members of council was there, and they said, oh, you know, the crime that's here is really going up compared to other cities that it has been rising in also, but it's risen here more. And it was very nice to hear that individual address that issue, but that individual has not been addressing that issue this whole time. I was very disappointed in that fact. Now, with that being said, we have people that don't feel safe outside. I've had a guy just the other day get stabbed in front of my building. This is very serious. And I really wish that you would allocate appropriate amount of interest and investment into getting people onto the police force, but also standing up and supporting our police and law enforcement because they don't feel supported. So why would anybody in the community want to go out and join the police to actually work in the communities to make our communities safer? A lot of people say, oh, well, police won't make anything safe or whatever the case is. Their job is to put criminals in jail. That's what I want them to do. I want the criminals that are out here robbing, stealing, maiming people, beating up old ladies, all of them, I want them in jail. You know why? Because when they're not punished, other people see that they're not punished, like the people that are still in the cars, these criminal terrorists, okay, especially the youth that are stealing these cars. People are seeing that they're not getting punished, so they're doing more of it. We have to address these issues, and I plead with you guys to publicly advocate for the changing of bill reform and the amending of the raise the age laws, and you guys continue not to publicly address this issue with the state assembly and with the state senators. Why? Why won't you speak up for us? You're supposed to be our representatives, but it seems that more of you are scared of downstate and the other people than you are concerned about actually standing up for us as a community. Thank you, guys.
Zanetta Green. Rachel Countant is from the East District, followed by Maggie Kane.
Hello, Council. Thank you. I wanted to start off by saying that the definition of sanctuary is a place of refuge or safety, and I want to ask if we as a community take that seriously for all of the Rochesterians that live here. We can't be a sanctuary city and also do nothing when those policies are violated. We can't have it both ways. We're either a sanctuary city or we are not. And just because we say things doesn't make it true. And if I say, oh, Rochester is actually La La Land and let's actually sing everywhere we go and that's the new policy, that doesn't make that true. And so getting up and saying, as the mayor said, that he said, I want to unequivocally be clear as the executive of the City of Rochester, it is our job to make sure we follow our policy. And our policy clearly states that the Rochester Police Department is not responsible and does not engage in the enforcement of immigration law. And he can say that and reiterate that as much as he wants, but as long as we are not putting serious consequences on the RPD when they violate this, it means nothing. And it's clear as a Rochester citizen that it means nothing for my neighbors, and that's just a bunch of words. And the more it's just words without consequence being backed, it means nothing. If my family members were being kidnapped or stopped by the police or any kind of predator, and the most I heard done in response was they got some extra training, I don't think I'd be super thrilled and feel super confident and safe. And so I ask that you take it seriously that we call ourselves a sanctuary city and you look out for our neighbors and their safety. They deserve that. Thank you.
Maggie Kane is from the East District, followed by Clifford Florence Jr.
Hello, it's Maggie Kane from Voices of Verona Street. First, I just wanted to thank Stanley Martin, Mary Lupian, and Kim Smith for holding the public hearing on April 9th. Noticeably absent was the mayor and Shirley Green and Stacy Papagalis, along with several of council people, which I hope you had the opportunity to watch the public hearing because it was live, and you can also find it on YouTube. I've been coming here for the last 4 years, asking for help at the shelter, and I realize the mayor finally is offering some, but I just want you to remember that I have been coming here, and now magically, before the hearing and before re-election time, there's suddenly $2.6 million magically appearing for the shelter. I do want you to remember that a lot of that is due to there's new regulations that must be in place, so they still need a staff. We still need more funding for that, so just because $2.6 million is not going to fix the problem internally with staff, with lack of volunteers. So I just would like you to remember that as you vote on the budget, and continue please to work towards a better environment for our shelter animals. And if you weren't at the hearing, there was a great speaker about our backyard breeding, which is out of control, and I'd really like us to start looking at that to actually enforce it, because many of these poor animals that end up at the shelter are bred in the backyard, dumped. We have a huge problem with that. So, thank you.
Clifford Florence Jr. He's from the South District, followed by Kevin McBride.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Clifford Florence Jr. I'm coming down here tonight for a few reasons. Malik Evans is a liar. I've come down here several times to talk to Malik about the homeless problem in our city. Many people don't even know who Gerald is. He's a homeless man that sleeps outside the crime lab just around the corner. If it wasn't for myself and other members of the church, he wouldn't eat, he wouldn't have anything warm to hold on to. To tell you what type of person Malik Evans is, he would throw me out of City Hall 4 and 5, 6 and 7 times to not hear my voice. I had to go to Malik's house on East Avenue. I rung his doorbell like a citizen that's concerned, with these problems. He sent his wife to the door. That's some leader we have, right? Rochester is the 10th richest city in America, but we have the highest, if not the highest, percentage of homelessness in the city. If we want to get a handle on crime, we have to be able to allow things and allow money to go where it is, because if it's not, it just shows how top-heavy things are in Rochester, and it doesn't trickle down to the people that's responsible. We have all of these things that sound good, buy the block back, and we have all of these programs, but when you go look at the block, it doesn't look like anything is moving. So I urge you all to hold each other accountable. I urge you all to hold Malik Evans accountable, because there's people that's hurting in this community, because when we come down, we don't want to sound as if we're begging and pleading for people to do what's just simply right. Life is very simple. Either people want to do it or they don't want to do it. I'll throw my hat in the last 10 seconds. I'm running for city council, and this is one of the reasons why. Because people need to have uneasy conversations to get things to where we need to get them to. So this coming election, remember my name, people, Clifford A. Florence Jr. for city council at large. Please and thank you.
Kevin McBride. Kevin is from the East District. He's followed by Oscar Brewer.
I am asking again that you keep getting police officers to deal with loitering on the front public sidewalk of Pinnacle Apartments and the gas station next to Pinnacle Apartments. I took a picture from the other side of the street Saturday, April 19th, 2025 at 6:14 p.m. Marcus Williams has told you many times that you must get more police officers hired to the RPD force. It is also very risky for me to even take such photos and publicly say that I did, knowing that a drug dealer could beat me up critically. I will not be deterred from taking further photos of the loitering when I can. And got a color photo.
Oscar Brewer. Ibrahima Karoma is followed by Lorraine Parr from the Northwest District.
Hello. I just wanted to also provide my support for especially what Kevin just said, because if you guys can imagine just for a moment, you buy a property, because the picture that you're about to see right now, where those people are stationed, it's facing directly my building. You buy a property, you renovate the whole thing, you spend a lot of money into the property. When you post the property online, people are excited for it. They come to see the property, they don't even get out of their car. As soon as they pull up, they see what's happening across the street. Some of them just turn around and go, because no matter how nice the inside is, they don't want their kids to grow up where they can see across the street people selling drugs, people just loitering 24/7. And this has gone on for too long. It's just too much. No matter how many cameras are put on the place, return on investment, oh God, it's not working. Because of a group of people who decide every day to just take the bus. Some of them don't even live there. They will just take the bus and come every day to destroy the neighborhood. If people say anything, they get threatened. When they call the police, those people have even given up, because the police doesn't even show up anymore. They pass by every time, every day. They see them. They don't do nothing. We are there. We have to deal with that. I mean, it's risky for us to do this, because these guys, it's drug dealers, And they destroy the place. They will be peeing there, broad daylight, in front of everybody, but nobody seems to do anything. If you guys can please help us, because it gets to a point, it needs to stop. I don't know what solution that would include. Obviously, you guys would determine that. If it's camera or anything, just help us, please. Thank you.
Lorraine Parr is from the South District, followed by Muhammad Han.
Hello, good evening. As you know, I've been here a million times too. So, just want to say on the budget, please, we need an animal shelter. We really do. We have too many dogs and cats running around. As you know, they're injured, they're sick, they're dying on the streets. There's a lot of stuff going on here. I am in contact with lots of animals I see in backyards that are chained up. I don't know why this law isn't being enforced about them being out in the hot weather. Now the hot weather's coming up and there's animals out there chained out in the hot sun. Why is this acceptable? And then when you call the cops or something, nothing's done. This is ridiculous. I mean, you can't have a human out there like that. Why is it okay for an animal? It's not any different. You know, we all breathe and, eat and all that. Besides the animal shelter, our city, as you know, is falling apart as usual. Would like to know if anybody's going to do anything about the potholes. We have numerous potholes. I have to drive in the city for my job constantly. I am driving around. There's big, giant holes. My car almost fell into a hole that was as big as my car. And this is ridiculous. I can't afford these repairs. Nobody can. I don't understand why you guys won't fix the roads. For all the taxes we pay, nothing's being done about anything around here. Crime, backyard breeding, animal shelter. What else we need to talk about? I don't know. Everybody, you know what to do. When you vote this coming election, you better do what you got to do. Quit talking. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Muhammad Han is from the East District, followed by Lori Thomas.
Hello, I'm here for the same reason Kevin and Ibrahim was here for the lottery. We have an ongoing issue for years on the corner of South Clinton and Goodman, which people stand and they've been there for years. And it's been going on for a year. We call the police, nobody comes and nobody show up to do anything. It's affecting my business and the Pinnacle building. There is other two businesses across the street from me. We all being affected because those people just come in the morning and just stay there. They don't even live there. Only thing they come over there to just sell drugs. We go over there, try to talk to them. All they say that we are on the city property. There is nothing we can do. We call the police. They say same thing. They on the city property. We cannot move them. If they come, they don't even come to our property. Only time they come to enter my property when they have a customer. When they want to do something, they want to exchange something to them. We go out, and by the time we go out, they already left. So that we need a solution for this. Please do something. That we have to do something for this. Thank you.
Lori Thomas, Dr. Lisa Barr, Michael Lohr, Matt Sedell, Asa Adams, Katie Gregory, Albert Agarin from the town of Greece.
Good afternoon. I'm here I did put a folder in your file, in your desk there to let you know how I am connected to the Marqueta as well. The churches, local churches, pastors, we have a meeting last night. They were not very happy because every year we use the international market to give out shoes, clothes, food to the community. As we went to get a permission to use the Marqueta again, they want to slap us with a $300 fee. I don't think it's fair. I think that the international market was pretty much built for the community. and especially if churches are coming in and giving goods that are needed so much in this community, and then you want to slap them with a $300 fee. I don't think that's fair, Miguel. I think that's not right. When I talked to Jim Farr, who's in charge, he said that only 2 people are exclusive to use the Marqueta. That's the city and Ibero. And I said to them, well, Ibero is a non-for-profit, so how are you going to charge this non-for-profit and not this non-for-profit? He said, well, they're part of us. I said, no, they're not. They're hired through you to bring programs into the Marqueta, but it's still a non-for-profit. So I just think it's not fair. I think that somebody should look into this. I put in that folder my business card. Call me. The pastors and I are going to have another meeting again, and we're trying to find resolution because the fees are very stiff for these churches. Thank you.
Kevin Lockhart from Webster.
Hi, how are you doing today? So I was told that I'm lucky to exercise my First Amendment right by being here tonight. That was pretty unfortunate to hear from City Hall. I think you're all lucky that I don't post your home addresses, which is, by the way, public information. We got to address the conflict of interest. First of all, we got somebody who's getting paid $66,600 a year at the RCSD, voting on RCSD legislation. So what do you expect that to mean? Shaking your head. Don't you shake your head at me. I got the invoice. I got the RCSD payroll. You cannot deny it. We got another employee of the RCSD here. We got the plantation manager himself. What a plantation you have here. The ward system. Also, I should mention that we have somebody that's an assistant town supervisor in Brighton. There's got to be laws against this type of public corruption. The issue that we have fundamentally is spread out across all of the election districts in Monroe County. We have people with a lot of representatives, and we have people with very, very, very few representatives. And so if you don't speak about the priorities in your election district, that means the people don't have representation. If the school district doesn't have a superintendent because they had to pull somebody in from Howard University, and 30 cents of every dollar that they're taking in taxes towards the school district is going toward an unelected joint commission, then we've got to consider the fact that this is not a democracy. This is a plantation being run by you all for the central bank, the mayor, not hired based on his qualities, hired because he's a banker. And the mayor is the CEO of the Treasury in Rochester. So this whole child trafficking that you have in the RCSD going on, you know, it just makes me so upset every day. And you got to know that I see right through you all. I understand who you all are when I look at you. I know who you all are. You can laugh, but these people are soon going to understand as well.
Your time is up. Bonnie,
Don't tell me my time is up.
Your time is up,
I'm
Kevin.
here as a taxpayer exercising
And
my
your
right.
time, your 2 minutes
You don't tell
is
me
up.
my
Excuse
time
me.
is up.
Excuse me, sir, your time is up,
You
and
can leave if you don't want to follow
Yes.
the rules.
thank you.
You guys got to go. And these people need elections. And you plantation managers are criminals.
Bonnie Canan.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, Bonnie Canan. I live in the northeast part of the Rochester. You know, a good number of nice neighborhoods there. And what I wanted to talk about is a couple things. One is that I was here probably almost 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, around the same kind of discussion, and that is what neighborhoods, at least the neighborhoods that I'm involved with, want to have and want to see, and we have not had much progress in that. So I handed out things to explain some of that, but you know, things like expansion of community-based recreation centers, expanding values of trees, and agreements with the forestry department around those issues, and establishment of what we call workaround co-ops, which means taking an older building from a neighborhood, redoing it, having a workaround people who know how to do repairs, and provide repairs to housing so we can keep the housing we have, which is one of the most affordable areas in the whole city. The other thing I want to talk about just quickly here is that, and I've mentioned this to people before, I found the last year or year and a half, even before, in terms of having dialogue with people and with groups, almost non-existent. Now, I know we had a pandemic, I know all that stuff, however, that has not gotten any better. So one of the things we want to pursue is having, we've already mentioned this, is having maybe every other month or every third month, having open meetings in which you can have your neighborhood and other neighborhoods come, and also in which you can start to bring in the, what is often a mix-up system. So you have people from the county that do certain things. You have people from the city that do certain things. You have people from the state. And some of these things combine, and if you I'm not saying you have every minute, but if you can put some of these things together occasionally, you can get further than just, and that's a dialogue, not just this.
Bonnie, your time's up.
Okay. That's it.
Carolyn Wormuth. It's from Arundecoit.
Hello. I have two issues I want to talk about, or I guess concerns. The first one, so I'm a DSP employee through the Arc of Monroe, and John F. Kennedy Jr., as you probably all know, is immediately attacking those with autism. He's basically saying that they don't contribute to society and that they are destroying their families. I work with these people 5 days a week. I support them. As you hopefully agree, they're not destroying families, they're not destroying our society. He also is apparently hoping to create a registry by accessing private medical records of those with autism. So I'm asking that you protect those diagnosed on either the high support or low support need of the spectrum in Rochester and protect their private medical records from being taken by someone who feels they're destroying their families and destroying our society. I'm also asking that everyone in this room denounce Avito Airlines for making a deal with ICE starting next month to save themselves financially. Hundreds of people were and continue to be denied due process to prove they are members of MS-13 before being shipped to El Salvador. Avilo Airlines helping to support this administration should be denounced by every single person in this room. I understand they're a private entity, they're a private business, you can't stop them. But you have much more power than I do, and them in the current administration, them agreeing to help ICE as they're trampling over our Constitution would be greatly appreciated. So to wrap up, please protect those diagnosed with autism from this administration who apparently wants to attack them and claim they destroy society, and publicly denounce Avilo Airlines for partnering with ICE, who is destroying our Constitution. Thank you.
Jaquan Stock. Is Jaquan here? Lori Finby. Zanetta Green. Oscar Brewer. Lori Thomas. Dr. Lisa Barr. Michael Lohr. Matt Sadell. Asa Adams. Katie Gregory. Jaquan Stock. Lori Finby.
All right, we have reached the end of our Speak to Council session tonight. Thank you for all who attended and participated. The next regular council meeting will be this Tuesday, April 29th at 6 p.m. here in Chambers. Thank you. Have a good night.